What's up, EXPs? How y'all doing? It is Monday, and I wanted to come on and do this very special pop-up interview with myself, or a pop-up discussion per se, live from LA. So I'm currently in Cali. Let me clean my screen a little bit. And T and I wrapped up our last tour, and we're about to embark on our next tour with Amazon for the next 2 months. So we'll be all up and down the West Coast, doing different events at college campuses. So definitely be sure to check us out on my page here and on my IG at Jae Davis EXP 101. I'll be sharing our travel adventures there and giving you guys insight into our tour, because this one right here is going to be a beast. But I'll save that conversation for another day. I just wanted to come in, check on you guys, see how you're doing, get a post for the group. You know, I've been posting a lot of tour opportunities and a lot of information with regards to tours, because we are hitting the fall, so the last half of 2019. Can y'all believe 2019 is almost over? I remember when we began the year. And you know what that means? It's the last stretch for us as EXPs before it begins to slow down a little bit, and there are a lot of fall tours that are going to be launching. So I wanted to make sure I did that big job alert post. I'm going to pin it back to the top after we finish feature our EXP of the week, Melanie Young, so that agencies will be able to see the type of EXPs that we have in the group, get a gauge for their experience, and reach out to you guys, you know, for potential tour opportunities coming up this fall. I get emails all the time from agencies asking me to refer people if I know people. So this group right here has been a great resource for me to be able to share information, and also for you guys to connect with other EXPs, and also to apply and obtain, you know, job opportunities. So definitely thank you guys all for taking the time to comment and provide all of your information. If you haven't done so already in that job alert post, I'll pin it back to the top tomorrow. If you have any tour experience, if you have CDLA experience, if you are an EXP looking to obtain your CDLA but you have extensive management experience, definitely go ahead and just comment under that post tomorrow with all of your information, you know, because you never know who's in the group, you never know who's watching, and an account manager may come across your information as well and reach out to you. And I also created I also shared this post on my Instagram and my Facebook and my LinkedIn personal pages, and I tagged different agencies so that they could join the group and find out information about EXPs as well. So definitely thank you to all of you who took the time to add your information. So tonight we're going to be talking wealth management, we're going to be talking finances, we're going to be talking investing. And I felt like it was important to hone in on this topic because, for one, you know, no one likes to talk about money. We like to talk about, oh, how much a job is paying, what we're going to be compensated, how we're going to benefit financially. But we never talk about, you know, the future and outside of just working an event. And how are we going to plan for retirement as contractors, as EXPs, with no guarantee, with no blanket. You know, if you want to work, or if you currently, like myself, if you work in this industry full time, you know, how do you not only maintain consistent opportunities, but how do you make sure you're not 70, 80, you know, walking around still having to execute promos and not have a retirement plan or a pension plan or any investments or any stocks in place that you can, you know, comfortably enjoy your retirement? And for those EXPs who may be doing events part-time and you still work a full-time job and you have a retirement plan, you know, how can you, if you decide to transition to working full-time as an EXP, how can you take your Roth IRA, or most of the time you have a 401k or your traditional IRA that you already have, how can you take that and make sure that you build on that and you are able to contribute and maximize that every year? So I'm going to be discussing some options for you guys tonight. I'm also going to be joined by Oddette Davis. She wasn't able to join us live, but she's going to be commenting in our live feed. She's a financial coach and advisor, and I just actually added her information to the comments here. And if you guys have any questions, definitely reach out to her. She is a financial coach, a financial advisor, and a former EXP. So she worked in the experiential marketing full time. She understands what it's like to have to retire and save and set yourself up, as an EXP financially, in the future. And the great thing about this is that she provides insight. Great resources, great tools. I've actually featured some of her blogs on Fridays in the group where she discusses, how to set up your retirement, how to set up your life insurance, what to look for, how to invest properly, how to save properly, how to budget, all of those things Oddette talks about. So Oddette, if you can, just go ahead and link your information, link your Instagram contact information in the comments. And EXPs, if you want to get started with any type of financial plans, if you want Oddette to be your advisor, definitely reach out to her and she'll get you guys squared away and started on that. So a little bit about me and my background in finances. I actually have a degree in finance. So I went to school in college. I graduated with a degree in finance. My love for finances came at 15, 16. I was a sophomore in high school, and I I transferred my junior and senior year to a different school because I wanted to pursue basketball full time and obtain a full ride, college scholarship, which I did. So part of me doing that was moving to a different school, which was an hour away from my home, and living with one of my teammates at the time. So I decided for the last 2 years of high school to move closer to the school that I wanted to go to and live with my teammate and her family. Little did I know, my teammate was a young lady who was very smart, very financially sound, and she came from a great family background. Her mom was actually the first minority woman to own a construction company in Miami, Florida. And that was big, during the time in which I was growing up, because there was no minorities who owned construction companies and who were a part of multi-million-dollar deals. And they were very big on finances, very big on understanding the concept of money and understanding, how to invest, how to save, and how to plan for your future. So immediately when I moved in with them, her mom provided me with a book on finances, and that is what sparked my interest to learn more about the concept of investing and the concept of money. So I learned so much. I read so many books about finances, and I knew, at 16, I wanted to pursue this full time, and this is what I wanted to go to school for, and this is what I wanted to, major in and ultimately do full time, teach people how to invest and teach children how to invest. So I ended up graduating, at 17, and I took all of my savings and all the money that I received from graduating and my jobs that I worked at Wendy's and all my little part-time jobs at Claire's, and I said, you know what, I'm going to open my first mutual fund and begin planning for my retirement, because nothing's guaranteed. So 17, I took all my money and I opened and I invested in myself. And I actually met my advisor. I went through Edward Jones because at the time I wanted to make sure that I went through a program in a company that could educate me at the same time and provide me with resources as I was going to college, and I had someone that I could talk to on a continuous basis. So that's how my journey in finances began. The young lady that I actually stayed with, her family also contributed a little bit to my investing, and they also bought me my first stocks. So that's what got me into stocks and wanted to learn more about investing from that perspective and learn the importance of diversifying. So when I went to college, I majored in finance. I graduated with my finance degree, and I wanted to make sure that I educated people, especially minorities, on the importance and the concept of money, because a lot of people don't, talk about this, and they see money as something that's very disposable, and they don't understand the concept of saving and planning for retirement and planning for investing. So it has always been a passion of mine to pursue investing, to make sure that I plan ahead. And even with me venturing into the experiential marketing industry full time and not really having that blanket, I saved money, but I didn't save enough, to be honest with you, for 6 months to sustain myself. I was just going by faith and making sure that everything that I had built, my name, my reputation, would be able to sustain me and allow me to obtain consistent opportunities. And, you know, by the grace of God, I have been blessed to be able to do so. But I have had some hard times, and have, you know, not necessarily struggled, but I've had to manage my money accordingly and budget so that I am able to, you know, sustain myself until my next opportunity came. You know, when I was a BA hustling, working 4 jobs to make sure that I was able to pay my bills and sustain myself until that check came. Because there have been times as an EXP, and how many of you guys can vouch, you know, where you didn't receive a check when you thought you would, or it took 6 months, or you had to follow up until you received your payment, or you were counting that money before you got it. And that's a golden rule, you know, working in this industry. That's something that we have to shy away from doing, from counting checks before we get them. Because until you have that check in your hand, you can't count on it. You can't bank on it, and you can't, you know, already go ahead and decide what you're going to be doing and how you're going to be using and divvying those funds. You can plan and manage, but until you have it, you got to, you know, make sure that you plan accordingly as if you don't have it. So Oddette, definitely, you know, comment. The first thing we're going to touch on is I want to start with Roth IRAs and retirement. So Oddette, any information, any insight on these 2 topics? Let's go ahead and start discussing, you know, that, and provide your information in the comments. And EXPs, if you have any questions, definitely chime in and let me know. So one thing I want to touch on before we go ahead and dive into them, as an EXP, working in this industry, brand ambassador, tour manager, assistant tour manager, team lead, it doesn't matter. You have to always know your worth and make sure that you are compensated accordingly. So if you've been executing events for years, you know the general range as to how much you should be compensated. You know, brand ambassadors, $18 to $25 an hour, team leads, you know, managers, tour managers, assistant managers. Make sure that you are calculating your funds before you sign to execute a contract, that financially it makes sense for you to execute a contract or execute a program. And if you have any questions about the compensation, about the amount of hours, and what your roles and responsibilities will be, please make sure that you get those questions answered prior to you committing to any tour, any program. You know, I hear from so many EXPs that they, you know, went on ahead and signed because they wanted to make sure they had a program, they had some money coming in, and then when they get on the tour, it's more work than they had envisioned, or more work than they're being compensated for, and they want to leave the program, or they want to ask for more money, when you have to make sure that you negotiate accordingly. Now, don't get me wrong. If you signed your contract and you were under the impression that you would be doing one thing, and then all of a sudden the roles and responsibilities have heightened and you're going to be given more things to do, then definitely, by all means, reach out to that account manager, reach out to that staffing coordinator, express your concerns, always put everything in writing, and, you know, work with them to negotiate a different compensation package. And just make sure also that you are looking at your per diems, looking at your hotels, and make sure they are feasible for the markets that you will be traveling, and that you will be able to financially, you know, afford it. $110 for hotels on the West Coast is not feasible. You're going to have to negotiate and talk about those things with your account manager and make sure that it makes sense for you, because you have to make sure that your vehicle and your assets are safe, and that you're in a safe area, and that you are not coming out of pocket more than the allotted per diem budget that has been given to you. Also, I'm not going to make any promises or guarantees about compensation. You know, a lot of people like to say, hey, you enter the industry, you're going to make this amount, you're going to be, you know, guaranteed to make $1,000 or guaranteed to make this amount as an EXP. It's all going to be based on you, your personal preferences, how you negotiate your contract, what you feel your worth is. That's why I say know your worth. And more importantly, making sure that you are able to back up, and how they say, don't write a check that you can't cash. Don't ask for higher compensation if you are not willing and able and available and are qualified to execute the assigned tasks and the assigned roles that have been given to you. You got to be able to back up any compensation amount that you are asking an agency to provide you. And as I stated before, as an EXP, you always want to have a plan. You want to always look at your different options as far as investing. And you can't be blowing money fast as an EXP. You can't be on tour spending your money feverishly and buy materialistic things and think that when you come off tour that you're just going to have another opportunity waiting for you and that you will be able to, achieve financial freedom. No, it doesn't work like that. You got to make smart money moves and you got to manage your funds accordingly. And more importantly, you got to have multiple streams of income. So let's jump into the first topic of IRAs. So there are two different types. You have a Roth IRA and you also have a traditional IRA. So Oddette has commented and she's provided some tips really quick, and I'm going to share them before I provide, some insight on the differences. So thank you, Oddette. A Roth IRA. A Roth IRA, you can put money in after you pay taxes. An individual retirement account that offers tax-free growth and tax-free withdrawals in retirement. There are some income restrictions within Roth IRA. You're eligible for both the Roth IRA if you make less than $129K as a single person. Once your income exceeds this limit, you are no longer allowed to contribute to this account. So that's good information. And Oddette also said the younger you are when you open your IRA, the greater your saving potential is because you get that tax-free compounding clock ticking longer and harder for you. So EXPs, make sure you guys are taking notes too, because this is great information. So you may be asking, what's the difference, between traditional and a Roth IRA? And Oddette just provided some great tips and broke it down for us as well. So the biggest tax difference, and I'm going to read some information that I found as well, between a Roth and a traditional IRA is how and when you get a tax break. The tax advantage of a traditional IRA is that your contributions are tax deductible in the year they are made. So that means that when you file your taxes, if you have a traditional IRA, you are able to write off the amount that you contributed to your IRA as a tax deduction on your taxes, and it'll help you in a sense. Whereas with a Roth IRA, you cannot claim that amount that you contribute to your Roth IRA annually. However, when you reach the age, and Oddette clarified the age for me, I think it's 67 now or 66. Once you reach 67 or 66, if you've been contributing up to $6,000 because they just raised the limit with your Roth IRA. It used to be $5,500 and it used to be $5,000, but now it's $6,000 for 2019. That's the max that you could contribute to your Roth IRA. So if you contributed your $6,000 to your Roth IRA this year, when you file your taxes next year, you will not be able to claim that amount on your taxes with a Roth IRA. However, once you reach the age of 66 or 67, all of that compound money that you've been able to make, all of the interest, everything that you've accumulated over the years, you will be able to withdraw that money at any point in time without any penalty, without any taxes, without any additional fees occurred. So a Roth IRA essentially is a combination of different mutual funds, different stocks that you and your financial advisor sit down and you guys decide how you want to invest your funds. Do you want to be more aggressive? Do you want to be more conservative? Do you want to, diversify how you take that $6,000 that you're going to invest annually, and you two will work together to decide, what you're comfortable with doing. And every year, it's best to sit down with your advisor and to reassess everything and to see how your stocks performed and where you could improve, or what other avenues you may want to invest in with that $6,000. So with that IRA, especially with the Roth IRA, you have to be mindful. If you plan to take that money out prior to the age stipulation, which hopefully Oddette will have an answer for me and I can look it up too, you will be taxed on that money. You will incur a penalty if you decide to take it out prior. However, if you wait to 66 or 67, then you will not be taxed on those fees that you on that money that you decide to go ahead and take out. And for all my EXPs who may be working a full-time job and you have already invested in a IRA and a 401k, because with a retirement investment account and you already have a full-time job, you'll have two options. You'll have a 401k or a traditional IRA. Now, 401k, as Oddette has described, is a tax deferred account. It works just like a traditional 401k. You get to subtract or deduct your contribution from your income. So if you earn $50,000 and contribute the max $5,500 to your IRA, you pay tax as though you have earned only $44,500. Okay, that makes sense. And thank you, Oddette, for providing that information. So EXPs who may be doing this part-time and you have a full-time job, you may have already started investing in your retirement, and that's great for you. A lot of companies will match the amount of money that you decide to contribute to your 401k and to your IRA. So definitely, ask these questions prior and make sure that you are aware of what they're contributing, and you try to max it so that you can get that free money and take advantage of that, that they're investing into your retirement as well. So as an EXP, I have a Roth IRA. I decided to open my Roth IRA at 18 years old to start saving for my retirement. Now, granted, at the time, I didn't have, every year, I didn't contribute the max. I tried to get as close to the max as I could with making sure that I met that threshold, but every year I wasn't able to do so. And I chose to go more aggressive. So I like technology. I like stocks that yield higher returns but have some risk as well. And I do have some conservative, more pharmaceuticals and more stocks which will grow and continue to grow over time. But for me, I wanted to diversify my portfolio and have an IRA which, included some aggressive as well as conservative stocks, but I lean more towards the aggressive stocks, and I can tell you over the years it has paid off in me doing so. So definitely EXPs, and I'm going to provide you guys with a list of financial advisors and companies that you can reach out to. Definitely do your research because everybody's financial situation is different, and just make sure that you are setting up your Roth IRA or your traditional IRA in a way which makes sense for you. And as an EXP, and when we file our taxes every year, I am not able to write off the $6,000 that I contribute the $5,500 that I've been able to contribute to my Roth IRA every year. I'm not able to, but I understand, once I hit that age threshold, that all of that money that I've been able to accumulate will be tax-free, and it's going to benefit me from that standpoint as well. So that's definitely something to take into account and something to think about. EXPs, when you're working your events, if you can, go ahead and start saving, $10, $20, $30, $40, $50 here. That adds up, per event. And I understand, we have bills, we got things that we got to, take care of. But sometimes, not sometimes, you got to start separating your wants from your needs and making sure that you are planning for your retirement and you are investing accordingly, because there's no guarantee. You could get hurt today or tomorrow, and you got to have some type of cushion and something to sustain you, if something should occur. So your retirement and making sure that you plan for this is essential. So we discuss Roth IRAs, we discuss traditional IRAs, and 401ks. If you are already working on a full-time job, or you have a job which already contributes, that's great. However, as EXPs, we don't always have that luxury, so you got to start saving now. It's never too late to start investing in your future, and starting with a Roth IRA is a great alternative and a great way to start saving. And EXPs, if you already have a Roth IRA, just throw out some of the companies. If you have a financial advisor that you work with, definitely add their information in the comments for EXPs to take advantage of. So we're good with IRAs, we're good with traditional IRAs. Let's jump into this topic of life insurance. So recently we had a tragic death occur in the industry with one of our own, and a lot of EXPs, it hit home for them, because discussing death is something we don't like to do, and something that we can't predict. We are not the predictor of our time and when we're going to leave this earth, but it's important that we have certain things and we have our paperwork in order, to ensure that our family will be taken care of, and that any arrangements with regards to our health and well-being outside of, leaving this world are taken care of, and we're not leaving anybody in a financial bind and any financial debt. And I see it so many times, and I hear it from so many, my family and friends, having to help bury loved ones and take care of any financial obligations that someone left behind is not fair, to your family, and is not fair to the individuals who are still already grieving. Now they have to switch into a different mode and plan for this. So, EXPs, make sure that you look at life insurance options. A lot of us don't like to discuss this, but you have to start planning for life insurance and planning for these cases because it's inevitable. We're going to leave this earth at some point or another, and you got to make sure that you have set yourself up financially and your family financially to take care of any outstanding issues or any debts that you may have. And one way to do that is by setting up life insurance. So Oddette will also be chiming in on this topic, but the 3 options that I want to discuss really quickly with you guys is term, universal life, and whole life. So term policies are the most popular policies. A lot of companies, Prime America, a lot of individuals, when you see the commercials, get a policy as though it's $20 a month, $15 a month, $30 a month. And oftentimes they're talking about term policies. And just as the name states, term policies only last for a certain term. So, prime example, let's say you are 30 years old and you decide, okay, I want to go ahead and get a life insurance policy just in case something happens to me. And you start talking to an advisor and you're looking at the cost of, a term policy versus the other 2 policies I'm going to be mentioning later. A term policy will only cover you for a certain term. They offer 15, 20-year, 30-year policies. I think 30 years is the max. And Oddette clarified this with me as well. So if you're an EXP, you're 30 years old, you want to go ahead and get a life insurance policy, you don't want to pay too much, and you're looking at, possibly just having something. A term policy, it's an option. It's better than having nothing. But you have to ask yourself, okay, if I get a 30-year term policy, and thank you, Oddette, for clarifying. If I get a 30-year policy and I'm 30 years old, and I outlive this policy, and let me go ahead and get my calculator because I'm going to do the math on this. So if I'm paying $20 a month, right, for a 30-year term policy, and let's say my policy covers $250,000. And Oddette, if you can, let me know, what do you advise as far as the amount that a EXP or individual should get for a policy? My rule of thumb is to cover any assets that you have, any homes, any debt, and your burial arrangement. So clarify, what do you recommend individuals to take out when they're looking at, a price as far as policies is concerned? So let's just say you do $250,000 for 30 years, right? And you're paying $20 a month for that policy. So if we do that, let's just compound it. 20 times 12, you're paying $240 a year times 30 years. You have invested $7,200 towards a 30-year policy, which is going to expire once you hit 60 years old. My problem with term policies is this. Okay, when I was 30, I got the lowest rate because I'm in great health. I have no outstanding issues, no pre-existing conditions. So I qualified for the lowest amount, for the $20 a month. But if I outlive this policy, right, and I hit 60, guess what? I'm going to have to get another policy. And let me ask you guys, at 60 years old, do you think you're going to be able to obtain the same amount of coverage and the amount once you hit 60? No, because within 30 years, your health situation can change. You're older, so that means you're more at risk for death and for things to occur at a moment's notice. So it's going to be harder to get a policy, especially a term policy, for the same stipulations at $20 a month. More than likely, the amount is going to increase. And Oddette, please clarify with me. and she answered the question. Quotes are personalized. Everybody's situation is different. So thank you for clarifying that. So it's going to be based on your finances, as far as how much she would recommend, and any financial advisor would recommend you go ahead and take out for your life insurance, and for, you know, you in the event that something may happen, all of your debt. But at 60 years old, trying to get a term policy is going to be much tougher, because you're at risk more and you're more prone to death or disease or different things occurring. So that same policy may be double or triple the amount. So as an EXP, I'm not going to tell you which way and advise you on what policy is best for you. It's all going to depend on your situation and your financial, what you have going on financially and what you can afford. Having a policy is better than having no policy. And having a policy which makes sense for your financial situation and will cover you in the event that something happens for you is of the utmost importance. As for me, I decided to shy away from term policies because I wanted something that could accumulate over time, that would accumulate additional interest, and that would allow me to, in the event that something happens to me, you know, when I'm 60, 70, I don't have to worry about, oh shoot, I got to get another life insurance policy. Or, oh man, like, what am I going to do? Now I don't have anything. I've paid $7,200 to have a policy that I can't even use now that I'm 60. You know, that was something that I didn't want to have to worry about. So for me, my options were universal and whole life. And I'm going to break down those two policies for you guys right now. So whole life insurance covers you as long as you live. You have to pay the same amount for premiums for a specific period to receive a death benefit. Normally, this policy remains intact for the rest of your life. Regardless of how long you may live, this policy is highly suitable for long-term responsibilities like surviving spouse and income need and or post-death experiences. One of the great features of this type of life insurance is that it combines coverage with savings. As a result, you may end up paying higher premiums in the beginning compared to a term life insurance policy. So EXPs, especially if you're younger, if you can afford to do a whole or universal life insurance policy, I highly recommend it. So here's how a whole life policy works. Your insurance company puts part of your money into a high interest bank account. With every premium payment, so every payment that you make every month, your cash value increases. This savings element of your policy builds up your cash value on a tax-deferred basis. In a way, the presence of guaranteed cash values make this policy worthwhile because you can borrow against your cash value or surrender your policy to get the cash value. Important, in order to borrow against this policy, you need a substantial cash value, as you can't borrow against the policy's face value. Whole life insurance is made to fulfill an individual's long-term goals and is important that you keep it going as long as you live. It is advisable to buy whole life insurance when you are younger in order to afford it in the long term. Unlike term policies, the level premiums, fixed benefits, and attractive living benefits like loans and dividends make this policy quite expensive. So, do you want to pay more now in the short term and have something that's not going to change, that's not going to expire? Or do you want to pay less now with a term policy, but when you turn 60 or 70, you got to now start all over and you're going to be paying more? It's really up to you. A great example is a whole life policy. Have you guys ever seen those Gerber Life grow-up commercials or those Gerber Life plans that they have for kids? That's a whole life policy. When a child is born, a parent can go ahead and take out a policy that they'll pay into for the child until they're 18 years old. And once that child reaches 18, I think those policies pay out at $10,000 to $20,000. I'm not sure. But as long as that child lives to see 18, that parent will be able to then take that money that has accumulated over time. And I think those policies start from like $5 to $10 or $15 a month. But you know, that parents or those parents can contribute to that policy every month. And once that child reaches 18, you know, they have that Gerber Life Grow Up plan that they can go ahead and take advantage of and either use for that child's college funds, or take it and reinvest in different stocks, or go ahead and use it to set up another life insurance policy for them. So that's a great example of a whole life policy. I decided to go with a universal life insurance policy. So I'm going to just give you guys a little bit of information on that. This policy is also termed adjustable life insurance because it offers more flexibility compared to whole life insurance. You have the liberty to reduce or increase your death benefit and to pay your premiums at any time in any amount, subject to certain limits after your first premium has been made. With the universal policy, you can increase the face value of your coverage, so you can increase your policy, but you need to pass another medical exam. So, and I didn't mention that initially, whenever you go through the process of getting life insurance, you will have to conduct a medical exam, where a medical examiner will have to come out, they'll do blood work, you'll do urine, and they'll ask you a couple pre-existing questions, like if you have a history of medical or heart issues or heart disease or high blood pressure. They're going to ask you all of those questions. You're going to also have to be weighed on the scale. You know, I did all of this, and it's important if you're going to be pursuing a life insurance policy to make sure that you're somewhere, you know, stable, that you're going to be in an area for at least 2 to 3 weeks, because, you know, your appointments have to be scheduled out for that practitioner, that nurse, to come out and actually conduct the physical exam. It takes no more than 15 and 20 minutes. And then once you complete the exam and your blood work comes back, your insurance advisor or your financial advisor will then contact you and let you know, hey, we found this, you know, your amount that we quoted you initially may have to be adjusted, or hey, you passed with flying colors, everything looks great, you actually got an additional discount, or, you know, this is what you're going to be paying, you know, your premium's going to be every month. So it's what to drop that little nugget in there. But like I said, with the universal policy, you can increase the face value of your insurance coverage, but you will have to take another exam in order to do so. When it comes to your death benefit, you have two options: a fixed amount of death benefit, or an increasing death benefit equal to the face value of your policy plus your cash value amount. You also have the opportunity to change the amount and frequency of your premium payments. This means you can increase your payments or pay a lump sum according to the specified limit in the policy. As you know, part of your premiums minus the cost of insurance is put into an investment account. Any interest incurred is credited to your account. The interest you earn grows on a tax-deferred basis, increasing your cash value. So that's the thing that attracted me to it, was, you know, my universal life policy, I think I paid $77 a month. I got my policy, that was my first one, when I was 26. And I wanted to make sure that I did so when I was young. But the thing that attracted me to this policy the most is that, you know, I'm paying $77 a month, but a portion of my $77 a month, I think it's like $12 or $15, is being deferred into a interest-bearing account, into different mutual funds that I chose to invest in. So every year I get a financial statement which shows me how much I've been able to accumulate in interest based on the $12 that I've been able to invest every month in the various stocks and the different options that I chose at the beginning when I set up my Roth IRA. So this allowed me to earn compound interest and additional money on top of just having a fixed universal life policy. And you can set up a universal life policy, a term policy, a whole life policy for any amount, you know, based on your financial situation, from $10,000 up to $1 million policies, and even, you know, and beyond. And you'll just be paying the premium on that policy every month. But this was one of the things that attracted me to this policy. But let me keep reading. Also, you can reduce or stop your premiums to use cash value to pay premiums in case you go through any financial problems. Nonetheless, there should be enough money accumulated in your cash value account to cover premium payments. Make sure to discuss the status of your cash value fund with your advisor before stopping the premiums. Your policy may lapse if you cease to pay premiums and have insufficient cash value to cover the cost of your insurance. And Oddette just said, for more information on Index Universal Life Insurance, I could send anyone the company info. Definitely, Oddette, that would be great. I'll ask EXPs. I'm going to ask you guys now. If you would like to receive more information, definitely drop your email address in the comments, and I'll make sure that I get this to Oddette, and she sends you all of the information that you need and gets you set up with the right insurance, life insurance policy, because this is important. We got to have these conversations, guys. But another good thing about the universal life policy is that, you know, as long as you've been making your payments in a timely manner, you know, let's say you've been paying for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and, you know, you hit a financial wall, or you hit a financial hardship and you're unable to pay, you know, your premium every month. The great thing is that you've been able to earn interest over time. And what you can do with the universal life policy is defer your payments or seize your payments and draw off of the interest that you've been able to accumulate over the years from reinvesting a portion of your premium that you pay every month. So that's another great advantage of a universal policy. Now let's talk about a disadvantage, because each policy has its disadvantages and advantages. The downside of a universal life policy is the interest rate. If the policy performs well, so if the economy is doing good, chances are you will experience growth in a savings fund. Remember that deferred amount? You'll be experiencing growth if the economy is doing well. On the other hand, the bad performance of your policy means the estimated returns are not earned. So you end up paying higher premiums to get your cash value account going. Second, surrender charges may be levied at the time of terminating your policy or withdrawing money from the account. So if you're constantly pulling money from your universal life policy to pay different things, to cover different debts, let's say you have a policy of $250,000, and over the life of your policy, you have been taking out money, you've taken out about $50,000. When you pass, or let me say this too, when you pass, or any event that you are in the hospital and you need to pull funds from your universal life insurance policy to cover your medical expenses, they're going to take into account that $50,000 that you owe on your policy, and they're going to deduct that from the overall balance and the amount that you have remaining on your actual policy. So that's one thing to keep in mind. You're able to borrow and withdraw from the policy at any point in time. And Oddette, if you can, clarify if there is a penalty to pull. I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. But at some point in time, you will have to replace that money, or you'll just have to, you know, whenever you decide to actually use that policy, or someone from your family has to use that policy to take care of any of your arrangements, they are going to deduct whatever is owed against the policy off of your actual full premium and your full face value amount for your policy. So universal life insurance offers well-rounded protection to your loved ones thanks to its security, flexibility, and variety of investment options. In times of low liquidity, you can either alter your premium payments, as I said before. You can adjust your amount. If you're unable to pay the whole amount, you can adjust the premium that you're paying every month. And if you're unable to make payments at all, you can defer your payments as well. You can either alter your payments or even withdraw from your cash value fund. You can also increase or decrease the face value of insurance as per your circumstances. So let's say you have a universal life policy for $250,000, and you now got kids and you got other assets and other things that you've been able to accumulate over the years, and you're saying, you know what, my assets are worth more than $250,000. I need to increase my policy to $300,000 to $500,000. You're more than welcome to go ahead and do so, as long as you're able to meet the medical examiner's requirements and everything checks out well. They'll just add the remaining to the current policy that you're paying and the current premium that you're already paying, and in a sense go ahead and increase your overall coverage and your overall policy. So key takeaways with these whole life versus universal life. Whole life insurance offers consistent premiums and guarantee cash value accumulation, while a universal policy provides flexible premiums, death benefits, and savings options. So Each one has its good and its bad. Universal life policy works best for me because it provides me with the flexibility. I can withdraw if I need to. In the event that I have medical expenses that I'm unable to cover, I can use, my universal life policy. And then two, the ability to be able to reinvest some of the money back into different retirements or different investments and funds was more advantageous for me. So this is why I decided to go this route. Whole life policies offer annual dividends, which can be accumulated or taken in cash. Universal life insurance policies allow those insured to stop paying premiums in the event of any financial problems, and you can borrow against the cash value of both a whole and universal policy. So those are some things that you got to keep in mind when you are looking at life insurance. EXPs, do not wait until it's too late to get a life insurance policy. Even if it's a term policy, even if that's all you can afford right now, get something, because we don't know the day, the time, nor the hour when we're going to be called to leave this earth. And you got to make sure, as I stated before, that you're setting yourself up financially, that you're setting your family up financially, that you have all your finances in place. If you can afford to go out and buy materialistic things and turn up and party and drink, you can afford to invest 50, 10, 20, whatever amount it is into your life insurance, into your health, into your wealth, and your well-being. And don't leave your family with the burden of having to figure out how they're going to bury you or how they're going to accumulate funds to make sure that you're taking care of it in any financial obligations that you had prior to leaving this earth are taken care of. Handle your business as an EXP and make sure that you keep your life insurance, your retirement, keep that a top priority, and make sure make sure that you're taking care of that. Oddette said, no more GoFundMe. I hear you. No more GoFundMe, no more fish fries. Hey, it has to stop, EXPs. And you guys, we have the power to control this. And if you can spend on other things, I'm sure you could prioritize and manage your funds so that you're able to contribute to your IRAs and contribute to your life insurance policies. So those are the two. I'm going to jump into one more, and I'm just going to discuss this one briefly, and that is investments. But before I jump into that, I also want to touch on wills, living wills. Make sure that you consult with a lawyer. It's not enough just to have a life insurance policy. It's a start, but make sure that you consult with lawyers. Make sure that you do, set up a living will in the event that something happens to you and you have a lot of assets, you have a lot of things in place. You have something written out as to how you want your funds distributed, who you want to receive what, if you have children, if you have a wife, if you have a family, how you want those funds to be distributed. And ultimately, making sure that that doesn't have to go to probate and you don't leave a judge or a government official to decide how they're going to spend your money and where your money is going to go. So set up a living will, set up a living trust. All of this can be done with a lawyer in a day. And it can all be written out. And you can go back if you are single, if you are married, if you don't have kids like T and I. You can set it up now, and then you can go back and adjust it for when those life experiences happen. You have kids and you grow your family. You can go back and adjust it. But set up something. Set up a living will, set up a living trust, and make sure you have things written out as to how you want your funds and how you want, your assets to be divvied up. That's very important, especially for EXPs. A lot of us don't like to talk about it, but it's reality. You got to make sure that you have your stuff in order and you don't leave it up to the courts to decide the fate of your money or your assets. So living wills and trusts are just as crucial as setting up a life insurance policy. So this is good stuff, but I'm going to keep going and I'm going to wrap up. I hope you guys are taking notes. Definitely reach out to Oddette. And Oddette, if you can, comment with your information again, just in case EXPs are joining and they're not on the feed. Drop your email, drop your Instagram information, and where they can contact you to go ahead and start setting up a life insurance policy, retirement accounts, and understanding stocks and bonds and investing. Oddette also said they do offer estate planning, so that's also something great as well. That you could reach out to her for setting up your wills, your trusts, all of that. Thank you, Oddette, for dropping that in there. And she's going to drop her information in the comments. So definitely reach out to her to get started and begin the process. Last topic we're going to talk about is investments. Stocks, bonds, investment properties. As someone who's well versed in the financial sector, I learned early on that you have to diversify, and you have to make sure that you are not putting all your eggs in one basket, that you have supplemental income, that you have different things that you invest in and you diversify in, to make sure that you're spreading out your funds and that you're able to take advantage, and maximize your earnings. So I have stocks, I have bonds, I have mutual funds, I have IRAs. I also have investment properties. TNI, not recently, but about 3 years ago, started, learning and educating ourselves on the process of investing in properties. And about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we started looking at stocks and bonds, and as a couple, and just, investing in stocks and making sure that we get hot. Making sure that we diversify our investments from the money that we were earning on tours and different programs. So ways to diversify: stocks. I advise you going with someone. I wrote down some: TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, E-Trade, Ally, Charles Schwab, Merrill Lynch, to name a few. If you're looking to start, earning dividends, if you're looking to start investing in stocks, definitely do your research, learn about the stock market, learn about investing, learn about what stocks to invest in. When I first began, my advisor told me, look at things that you like to use. Look at things that you use on a daily basis, some of your favorite things, and invest in those things. Whether it's Starbucks, whether it's different Facebook, whether it's Beyond Meat, whether it's Ford, whether it's Chevy, different products that you use on a daily basis, Procter and Gamble. You can start investing in those products because you are familiar with them, you use them, so you have some type of attachment to them and connection there. So Home Depot, I live in Home Depot as an investor. So, those are some of the stocks that would be more advantageous for me to invest in. However, as a EXP, and especially if you're beginning your investment journey and learning about stocks, I highly encourage you to do your research, understand dividends, understand different stock options, and create a diverse portfolio. Have some technology, have some things that you love, have some common things like Procter and Gamble products, things that people are going to use, that you're always going to see, people investing in. The company's not going anywhere, it's stable, automotive. Have a good mix of aggressive as well as conservative stocks to round out your portfolio. It's also important to look at the fees, associated with trading, and make sure that you're not accumulating any additional trade fees, and that you understand, what you're going to be paying every time you do a trade. With stocks, it's important to note that these are long-term investments. You don't get into stocks today, and expect tomorrow, oh gosh, I made $100 per share, or I can pull my stocks or sell. Rare cases, it does happen. There are instances where a stock is one price today, then it splits, or it's bought out by another company and it automatically increases the next day. But those are rare cases. It doesn't happen every day. So if you're going to be invested in stocks, just know that this is a long-term investment. And you can't pull your money out, when the stock market or the market is not doing so well. You have to give stocks time. You have to give the market time. And able to see gains, it takes time and it takes patience. And reinvesting and doing your research and looking at the company and what the growth of the company is looking like, and what's going to be happening with the future. A lot of my friends got in on the Tesla bubble early, and they made a lot of money before Tesla blew up. And also Amazon. I remember when Amazon was like $50 a share, and I wish I would have gotten in earlier. Now Amazon's up to like $1,700-$1,800 a share. So these are just some things that you have to keep in mind when you're looking at stocks. It's going to be a long-term investment. So definitely do your research, have a great mix with stocks, and consult a financial advisor prior to setting up your stock account, or just do your research. CBD, marijuana, medical marijuana, medicinal marijuana is going to become legal soon everywhere. So this would be a good time, hint, hint, to start looking at different companies, different pharmaceutical brands, different products, different manufacturers that make CBD-based products to start investing in. Another good one, plant-based things. More people are looking for alternative lifestyle, going vegan. You know, different food options are going to be on the horizon. Different companies are going to be coming out with different products. So start doing your research now and tapping into the different stocks associated with those companies. Also, when we talk about investing, we're going to talk about real estate. I enjoy investing in real estate, and if you have the time, if you have the patience, definitely it's a great way to supplement income and to create that cash flow. As an EXP, you can invest in real estate. You can buy a home. You can own a property. You can invest and buy your first investment property. You just have to know how to do so financially, because as an EXP, oftentimes you're contracted. You don't have steady income. So you have to know how to show your income, how to make sure that you're able to qualify with a private lender. That's my advice. Go through a private lender. And how to make sure that your W-2s line up, that you're paying yourself first every month or every week or every 2 weeks when you're getting paid, and that you're showing that you're earning income as on your personal side. Because oftentimes when you're paid as a 1099 employee or a 1099 contractor, you're working under your LLC, or you may also be using your personal social. So understanding and knowing how to navigate through those different things, but being able to show income so that you're able to qualify for a property is important. You can go conventional, which will require you to put down 3 to 20% on a property. So if a value is if a property that you're looking at purchasing is $100,000, and you need to go conventional, because as a EXP, conventional is more advantageous, because you'll be able to close faster, and you won't have to jump through as many hoops as you would if you went through FHA. If the property is $100,000 at 3%, you may have to put down $3,000 towards your closing costs. At 20%, you'll have to put down $20,000 towards your closing costs and towards the overall principal of the actual mortgage. So if you put down $20,000, you're actually financing a mortgage for $80,000 versus $3,000, you're financing a mortgage for $97,000. So understanding the numbers, understanding, your different options, conventional, FHA, or just putting down a substantial amount is important. Also, will you be doing a fixer-upper? If you're going to be flipping properties, you got to be there. You got to make sure that you have a solid team in place, you got solid contractors, and that you can oversee the work that's being done, and that it makes sense financially for you to flip a property and that you're going to see a profit from it. If it doesn't make sense for you financially, it may be best to hold the property and create a cash flow and have a renter in the property and have rental income coming in. And just make sure that you do the math to make sure that the mortgage that you're going to be paying for the property is going to be less than what you're going to be charging for rent. So if you're going to be paying your mortgage $100,000, you're going to be paying a mortgage of $500 a month, and it's a great property. You fixed it up. You did what you could to get a renter in there, and you're able to charge $1,200, $1,300 a month. Guess what? 12 minus 5 is 7. You're making an additional income of $700 a month that you don't have to work for, that you can use to pay on the principal of the property, or that you can reinvest and buy your next investment property. So these are just some things that you have to keep in mind when you're looking at investing, especially in properties. Make sure that you meet with a lender that can point you in the right direction, that can look at your finances and put you or place you or set you up with the right loan that's going to be based on your financial situation. Conventional, FHA are the two most common. And what else did I say? And so investment properties, stocks, bonds, and let me make sure I don't have any notes here. I think that's pretty much it. So, and you do what? If you guys haven't purchased it, go ahead and purchase your copy at jaedavis.media or on Amazon. In my resource section, I provided you guys with financial help, self-help resources. Some of my favorite books that I've read over the years, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that's always a great book to start with if you are beginning your investment journey. You want to learn more about investing. It's a great book. Smart Women Finish Rich, Think and Grow Rich by David Batch is also another great book. Secrets of a Millionaire Mind by T. Marvy Elker. Some great people that I follow over the years: Dave Ramsey, Patrice Washington, Susie Orman, David Batch, I just mentioned his book. I also follow a lot of African American wealth advisors as well. Samantha Ely, she's the creator of Generation Wealthy. Chris Browning, he has a great podcast on the importance of financial and investing. And Tara Jackson, she's a blogger and the creator of Madame Money. So these are just some people that you guys can do some research, that you can Google and find out more information on how to invest and set up your investment portfolios and make sure that you're setting yourself up financially for success. Oddette also provided some additional information and her contact information for you to reach out to her and set up your Roth IRA, your traditional IRA, your life insurance policies, and your stocks, your bonds, and just getting a better grip and speaking to someone who can guide you in the right direction. She's great. She has a lot of insight and a lot of tips. And please, EXPs, take the time to do your own research, to consult with a financial advisor, to consult with someone who is well versed in this field, who can guide you in the right direction. A lot of people like to tell you information, like to tell you what you should do based on their situation and their experiences, but you have to base your financial moves and your financial situation based on what's going to be beneficial for you. So definitely reach out to Oddette, continue to do your research. Life insurance policies are top priority. Take care of your business now, so your family's not left to take care of your business when you're not here. Invest in your retirement, especially if, I don't know about you, but I don't plan to be being an EXP when I'm 80. I want to enjoy the fruits of my labor. I want to travel. I want to live life. I want to live my best life. And I understand that I got to sacrifice now, separate some of my wants from my needs, and invest in my retirement early, so I can be able to reap my benefits later. So it may be the difference between buying those cars, buying them a pair of shoes, turning up tonight, and putting that money somewhere that will make you money in the long run and that will benefit you financially. So if you guys want to email, if you guys want the list, if you guys want Oddette to send you guys more information, if you have any additional questions, please feel free to message me, message Oddette, send her an email as well, and we'll be sure to answer those questions and get your answers as soon as we can. Thank you guys all for tuning in. We got to talk about this. Share this with other EXPs. Share this in other groups. And yeah. Health is your wealth, but also your finances is your wealth as well. And you got to start somewhere. It's never too late. So go ahead, start today, meet with a financial advisor, and start investing in your future. Don't leave it to your family. Don't leave it to your friends to take care of it. It's your responsibility. Talk to you guys later.